Check one.
Hey. I'm alive. It's alive. Live. All the way live. It's a party.
Check one. We in the game. Coach.
Hey, Kim, you alive?
Yeah, I'm alive.
Live. All the way live.
One, two.
There's a party over here and it ain't no jive.
Kim, speak for me.
1 2 1 2 1 2. How was that?
Can't hear you.
You didn't hear me? Did you hear me?
1 2. I can hear me.
I can
I
hear
got
you
mic
loud.
1 on.
Yep.
Mic 2 on.
Hello.
Mic 3. Mic 4.
Hello.
Yep. All right, now speak for me.
Hello.
There we go.
A little more. Talk up.
Louder?
No, I mean talk. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
keep talking.
That's really loud.
okay.
1 2 1 2 1 2.
Okay, you got me too?
Yeah.
All
Kim.
right.
Kim.
Hello, you got me? You got me?
There we go. And
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
All right. Hi. Welcome to Hot Seat with IC Jonez. It's your boy IC Jonez. I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to get this thing going on. But welcome to our 4 o'clock show. You know how we do on Thursdays when we live. Today is a special day because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes, it is.
And I have Tom's wife in the building, Kim Moore. How are you today?
I'm doing just fine, even though it is almost the last day for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but you could be aware every month.
Every month.
Every month.
So when it comes down to your life, why does it matter to you?
You know, I'm a person that always advocates taking care of your health, maintenance on your health, and particularly for women when it comes to your breast. Most women have very dense breasts.
Okay.
So a lot of things tend to hide inside.
Okay.
And so it's real important that you get your mammograms and ultrasounds, if possible, at least once a year. Don't say, I missed it this year, I'm going to do it next year. Early detection is the key to not having a serious issue with breast cancer.
I was just looking on Instagram, and they showed some type of like dimple indentations. They were like almost hair follicles size around the nipples.
There's a lot of different signs.
That was one, and I
one.
read the whole, and I was just like, wow, like you just never know,
And you, like for me, for instance, I've been a breast cancer survivor. It'll be 13 years in January.
13 years.
And I did not have any outward symptoms. Sometimes your nipple will invert, you'll get swelling there, you'll get leakage there, or quite frankly, you'll just feel a lump there. I didn't have any of that.
Okay.
I went to the doctor every 6 months, and when they did my ultrasound, they saw little tiny microscopic.
We gotta have you speak right into the mic.
Sorry, guys. This is only my 5th time.
You can move. You can move it to the left if you want a little bit.
Here.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, perfect. I had microscopic calcium deposits in my breast, so I would never have detected them doing anything. I would never have detected that. So they found them, and what had begun to happen is they were spread out, but then they started to form a circle. And when they start to clump together like that, then that's an indication that they're cancerous. So I went when they told me to come right back the next week, and Tom and I went down there. He went with me, and I was like, well, this is kind of odd. They're telling me to come back, and usually I go every 6 months. And I've been with this doctor, mind you, for 18 years. We go back and we go into the exam room, and the first thing that the doctor says to me is, well, Kim, do you want the good news or the bad news? And I'm like, good news or bad news? So I said, I'll take the bad news. And he said, the bad news is that you have breast cancer. And I never heard the good news right then.
After that.
You hear you have the big C, then you're just like totally freaked out. I can relate to anyone that gets it any kind of wherever it's going to be.
Yeah.
So he stepped out of the room so I could collect myself, and both Tom and I are like this. What? I couldn't imagine what good news would be.
Okay.
Okay. And he came back. He said the good news is that, and it's because of early detection. I had stage 0 breast cancer. I don't know anything about stages at that time, but stage 0 means you have a 99.9% of survival.
Survival.
With nothing. So I didn't have. I only had radiation for 5 days, twice a day, and I had it was in situ, so which means carcinoma in situ, which means it was in one particular spot. The one thing you fear is that when you have your surgery, because I still had to have surgery, you just don't want to hear when you wake up that it was in your lymph nodes, because that means that's your little highway. You know, that's where it can just go to a lot of different places. And I didn't have it in my lymph nodes. And you just got to be careful too, because you can actually get breast cancer in any part of your body because the cells will fall off. I had a friend who just passed away. As a matter of fact, she'd been cancer free for 9 years. She had to have a mastectomy, but the cells had fallen and they got into her liver. So she died after 6 years with that, of breast cancer in her liver.
Wow.
So it's super, super important that you get your breast checked. And there's a lot of places around town that you can get them free. The Red Rose Society from St. Rose Hospital, they do them. You can go online. You can find places that will give you free mammograms. It is suggested that if there is no signs of cancer in your family, that women start at 40. But unfortunately for my nieces, they started at 29 because I was the first person to have breast cancer in the family. So now when you fill out your doctor's form, does anyone in your family have breast cancer? Well, yeah. You know, so it's me. So I'm just happy that I'm here, and you really, really must be an advocate for your own health.
So what were some of your symptoms, though? Did you speak on that?
I had no symptoms
None.
at all. That's what I'm saying. Some people have symptoms. I didn't have any.
None.
I just,
This was routine for
yeah, routine visit,
Okay.
and boom, 6 months before that, they didn't see anything.
Yeah.
But now it's, all of a sudden I have breast cancer, So I really got involved in that community after I had it. You never think it's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
Especially me. I was going every 6 months and all that. But just be careful, because it's one of the leading cancers for women in the world, actually.
In the world.
In the world.
So what about men?
Men, I don't think the men should ever think that they can't get it, because you can get breast cancer. Like Richard Roundtree, who played Shaft. He was one of the first men that I had ever heard of that actually had breast cancer. So I that's a good question, IC, because I don't know the statistics for men. But be aware that it doesn't isolate itself with us. We get it more because, we get breast, and there's a lot more tissue there. So should take care of themselves also.
Right. Right. So it's not just the fact that you lived, but you went through those emotions.
I went through the emotions, and here's what, and Tom will tell you this. This is what kind of freaked me out. I didn't have to have chemotherapy, praise God, but I had to have radiation. And I just want to kind of explain. Okay, let me go back before the radiation.
Let me try to get your mic, because if you're gonna talk to me, I want you to bring it this way, because you gotta speak directly into the mic.
Oh, speak this way.
Yeah.
Turn it.
Quit looking at
Flat
IC. Just talking to Mike. Pretend he ain't there.
There you go.
Okay.
There
I
you
had
go.
this right yet.
Yeah, just talk right. Just don't leave.
Okay.
Let
So
your mouth.
this is good right here. Okay.
Yeah, directly to it though.
Am I talking into it now? Okay.
Yeah, but. Yeah.
Okay. Now where was I? I forgot. Okay. When I got diagnosed and they schedule your surgery, you go to the. They scheduled my surgery, and I went to the hospital. And you think when you go to the hospital to have surgery that you're going to go in, they're going to prep you with the IV, they're going to put you to sleep, and and then you're going to wake up and the surgery's over. What I didn't know is it doesn't happen like that when you have breast cancer. You go in, and there's a whole litany of tests that you have to take, and none of them are good. You're already afraid. You have no idea what's going to happen, but that's not happening, that they're giving you the IV and you're going straight in. And one of the tests that I had, and I'm being very graphic about this, okay? And everyone doesn't have the same thing, but this I'm relating my story.
Right.
They had to give me what they call lymph node mapping.
Okay.
And that's when they check the lymph nodes in your breast and up under your arm, so that they know where they are and where it'll travel. Because all of our stuff is a little bit different, okay? Where everything is positioned. So what they did is I had to get a series of 5 shots in my breast. So you're laying in there, and it's like, oh, 5 shots. Oh, God, I'm getting 5 shots in my breast.
Mm-hmm.
And they pull out the needles, and they're like that. They're like this.
Like the epidural needle.
Yes. So I get the first one, and it's so painful that I'm literally like, I screamed. I wasn't being a little punk or nothing, but it was.
Of course.
And Tom heard me screaming, and he comes busting into the room. And it's like, and I'm like this, I'm like, I'm so sad. So security, you literally had to take him out so that I'd be okay.
Yeah.
So I go through this 4 more times. 3 more times with 4 shots. And then we asked the doctor, I said, could you have numbed me for this?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yes, I could have. But that would have been another shot.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Could you have given me that shot first? So it's like that. And then you just go from room to room, and there's something, you find yourself walking in a cup on you with this needle sticking out. And finally you get to surgery. I woke up, and the first thing I said, is it in my lymph nodes? And he said no, and I think I fell back out. And it was outpatient surgery. Yeah. And you know what it was? This is so pivotal that we're here now. I had my first radiation treatment the day that Barack Obama got installed, inaugurated. So I'll never forget that day. Yeah. I mean, that it's like that was the first day.
Right.
And I went, Tom took me home, and I woke up from sleeping when we got home, and my 2 college roommates were there.
Okay.
I didn't even know they were coming. I just wake up and they're there, and then you're thinking, am I dreaming? But they came and they stayed with me, and then another good friend of mine, Lynette, came. So, the friends came in handy.
Right.
So it was really. Tom was like, Tom, did you wear the same thing for a few days or something? Did you wear the same clothes? Tell them about your experience. This is your mate's experience when something like this happens to you. Tell them about your drive.
Oh yeah. So. I was going along, we'd been married not quite 20 years at that point, and I just expected that, Kim and I would be married forever, and we'd get old, and we'd be 95 years old, and we'd be sitting on the porch or something, and then we'd both just pass away, and that'd be the end of it. And here I am, with a daughter who's 13, unfortunately right at that same time, a son who was a heroin addict, and I had just had involuntarily put into treatment, and a wife who was having breast cancer surgery. And I had a job, and I was trying to keep that afloat. And so I was just running around like a madman, And I woke up and realized, oh, my God, my wife might not be here. This is not what I had in mind. My daughter... I'm not making this up. My daughter, who was 13, said, Daddy, is Mommy going to die? And I said, no, Carly, she's not going to die. And he said, don't lie to me, Daddy, because a friend of mine at school, Mommy got breast cancer, and her dad told her to be okay, and her Mommy died. So, it was like that, right? So I was making my same daily little trip that I did every single day for years and years and years, pull out of my job, go down the street, go to the health club, and just try to unwind a little bit, and then head to the house. I left my job, and the next thing I knew, this is a couple weeks into it, but the next thing I knew, I get the sensation that people are honking at me, honking at me, honking at me. So my job was on the Strip. The health club was right off the Strip on Karen and Paradise. I was at Eastern Avenue down by St. Rose Hospital in that lane that either side can go into and then turn left, and I was just parked there. I was so sleep deprived. I was so stressed out. I was so overwhelmed with everything that was going on in my life, trying to keep it afloat, that I literally don't know what happened. I don't know how I got there. I don't know how I left work. It was just a big 25 minutes of blank. And I'm on the wrong part of town, sitting in the middle of the road. It was crazy. So that'll just tell you what can happen. I remember distinctly, like I think a lot of men, we are fixers and doers, and come on, I know a little more effort, work a little harder, take a little more control, and it is a helpless, hopeless feeling when you realize that unless you're a surgeon and you're going to do the surgery on your wife, you can't do anything but pray and be supportive. And that is not something I was used to being. You know what I'm saying? I was used to being a praying guy and all that, but it was different. I was like, and this is my wife, and people are laying hands on her, and she's screaming and hollering, and she's going through this, and she's crying, and she's stressed out, and she's worried about everything, and there's not a darn thing I can do to help her except hold her and tell her I love her and drive her to these appointments. I'd take off work. I drove her to every appointment. I wasn't messing with any of that anymore. And then thank God, everything worked out, and she's here today, and thank God. And we just, I'll tell you what I learned out of it. This is the one thing I learned amongst many others. I learned about the importance of having a health ombudsman for you. So when you're all messed up because your brain goes blank because they said, you have cancer, and your brain just goes bye-bye, you're freaked out, you better have somebody else there listening for you. And you better be asking a lot of questions, because God bless these doctors. They are well and they mean well, but they do it every single day. So they leave out little steps like, oh, we're going to take you in a room, you're not getting Novocaine, and we're going to stick some big long needles through your nipple, through your breast, into your armpit. And you're going to cause your husband to get arrested. Okay? Yeah. Literally. Yeah. And so, but I'll tell you what I really learned about from it, and I took away from it, and I'm a better guy for it. And that is, and this sounds so trite, but it's true, tomorrow ain't planned to nobody. Because it was never my plan to be in breast cancer or whatever with my wife. It was never my plan to be thinking, oh my God, what if she don't make it out of the surgery? And then when she came out of the surgery, then they do the forensics to see if they've gotten the entire mass out. Then they came back and they go, oh no, we didn't. We have to go back again. More surgery, because they did what they call clear margins. So they scoop the tissue out. 30 years ago, they would just hack a big chunk of your breast off. They don't want to do that anymore, and it's a good thing. In Kim's case, unfortunately, she had to go back for a second surgery 10 days later through the same damn hole. It was very painful, and have more tissue in there removed to make sure they got the whole thing. So my message is, love who you got, love on them hard, because tomorrow you don't even know.
So, talk about that.
I had I'm glad Tom remembered that. I actually forgot that. What happened, because I had carcinoma in situ, they put it in, it's all located in one spot. So when I had the surgery, they inserted a balloon. And the balloon was inserted because that's where the radiation was going to go. And it's literally filled with liquid. And Tom and I went home, and I was watching TV. This is, days later, and we heard this big pop, and the balloon had burst. So I had to go back in.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you hear it, and it leaks, So
it looks like a little water balloon.
Yeah, and you had this port there. So anyway, I went back to the oncologist. He was going to put another one in. Well, he tries to put another one in without numbing my breast. So I got up, I left, so I can't do this. I went back to my doctor. They did it the proper way, and what Tom talked about with margins, you think that they got it all, and then when pathology, whatever comes back, they didn't, so you got to go back in. And this is just with stage 0. So imagine the women where it's 1, 2, with other factors attached to it. So then I had the radiation. You don't know what it is. You get in there, and actually the radiation that they put inside of my breast was as big as a salt granule. And it's on the thinnest piece of wire. And it travels down, and you can feel it traveling down, that tiny little thing. No pain involved with that or anything. So let's say, so I get through the breast cancer, I get through the surgery, and you still deal with the mental part now that you had cancer, okay? Margins are clear, it's not in my lymph nodes, I'm good. So what I embarked on was a journey to educate other women. My doctor and I went on several of the local TV shows because I was one of the first people to have this type of surgery called carcinoma in situ. And it's a 5-day process with the twice a day with the radiation. So it's a whole new program. So he and I, we went on a lot of different shows. I was a guest speaker at the American Cancer Society. I got my entire family and some friends involved. St. Rose Hospital, the Red Rose Foundation, they do a regatta. They do it every year, and I was
what is a regatta?
I'm going to a regatta is out at Lake Las Vegas, and you practice. I had to pick a team. It's my team, and you practice. You learn how to row a dragon boat.
Okay.
And
Looks like one of those Roman boats that you saw,
Yeah.
coming across the ocean, but smaller,
yeah.
with a little guy up in the front going, row,
And
row.
he's beating his drums, and I got my whole family involved in it, and we didn't win, of course, but it's all these boats, and it's a huge family affair, and they have it every year, and I was the honorary, what do they call it when you at the parade, marshal
Yeah.
Okay.
of the there, and of the regatta, and it's just so much fun because it's a family day. They have it every year, and they didn't have it this year because of COVID. So it'd
Right.
be something nice for you and your family to come out to, and for me to come on next year to remind people it's free, and it's nothing like you've ever seen before.
Right.
And they have total breast cancer teams. They come from all over the country, and they do this race, and it's so beautiful because you see all these women come through, who've come through cancer, and then the next year there's some that were there last year and they're no longer here.
Yeah.
Breast cancer is a real serious thing, and I'm so glad that the world is supporting it more.
Yeah.
So I would just tell every woman out there, you don't have to pay for it a lot of times. Most times, if you can, you do, but if you can't, there's plenty of places it's particularly this month that you can sign up for. They have the mammogram bus that goes around. They have different centers, set up that you can go to.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't mind, next year I'd like to come talk about that in September, the end of September, because then I'll have the list of all the places to go to. And what I tell on my social media, what I tell everybody is October is the month to just really rock your pink, because that brings awareness. I don't know if you guys can see, but my shirt says "Fight like a girl," because women tend to fight a little bit harder than men. You guys
Right.
get sick and it's all over. So
Got my pink on.
got your pink on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any other women that have breast cancer right now?
I had an older half sister who had breast cancer twice, and eventually passed away from it because she ended up getting breast cancer cells in her kidney. And I've known several of my friends. Oh, and I want to talk important since you brought that up. It's real important that if you find out you have breast cancer, that you test to see if you have the BRCA gene. And the BRCA gene means that you are very susceptible to all kinds of cancers.
Wow.
And they give you a simple blood test, while you're going through your procedure and everything. I have one really, really good friend in Los Angeles who had breast cancer, and she took the test and she had the BRCA gene. So what you do immediately is they get their ovaries removed and they have a double mastectomy.
Oh, wow.
Because they're so susceptible to it coming back.
Wow.
To it coming back. But I have had several friends that have whose family members have had it.
Okay.
And
Anybody right now that you know currently?
do I have
Right this minute? Not that I can think of.
Not
Okay.
in 2020. I can't think of anybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do, for those who are listening, some may be dealing with it, some mother out there, some woman out there. What do you want to tell them right now?
I want to tell them, whatever you do, I want you to always remember this. Keep it in your brain, ED, and that is early detection. That is what saves lives. is you going to the doctor. Don't sit around and you're feeling something there and say, oh, it's nothing. It's something. Make sure you get a mammogram once a year. Once a year is all that's required. When you go, the doctor or the health professional will let you know if you have dense breasts, and they will suggest to you that you come back, you go twice a year. Go. It's nothing to play around with, because you could have a mammogram once a year and go back the next year, boom, it's there. That's why I advocate getting the ultrasound also. And your doctor will let you know if you need that. So to all the women out there, no matter what, just always remember that early detection is the key, and it saves so many lives. It educates you on what I need to do. And if you're a sister, if you're a mother, a daughter, you have siblings, it's real important for them also, because if you get it, that means that they're susceptible at that point. Some siblings, like my sisters, that my other two sisters never got anything, but one sister, two of us had it, and so they're susceptible.
Right.
So that's what I tell everybody. Go to the doctor. Be your own advocate when it comes to your breasts, because it spreads so quickly. And even since I've had it, there have been so many different kinds that are attached to it, like stage 4, triple X positive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is that?
Right.
And every single person's cancer, breast cancer, whatever, is different. It's different. So they got to remember that, and that would be my things to be an advocate for yourself.
So, okay, we want early detection, but what about the ones who are going through it right now, and they're listening for some inspiration? They're listening.
I'm sitting here, and I know a lot of other people that have had breast cancer, and they're still here. It's not necessarily, 9 times out of 10, a death sentence. It's not.
That's good to hear.
It's not.
Because we hear cancer, we think death.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's what I did. So that's why you do exactly what the doctor tells you to do. And if you feel like you need a second opinion,
go get it.
I thought I needed one. I was fortunate enough. I have a friend, a very good friend, who's a radiologist, and she does breast oncology, and she was married to the chief of oncology at a hospital in Detroit. I flew to Detroit, mm-hmm. took all my stuff. The doctor's not going to want to hear that you need a second opinion, and because I didn't want to hurt my doctor's feelings, I told him my brother was an oncologist. I flew to Detroit. They looked at all my stuff, and they said that the course of treatment that he had prescribed for me was a good one. Was a good one. So don't look at it as a death sentence. You're a warrior, you're a survivor, and you got to think like that. Yeah. And it's a scary, scary situation. It's a scary thing to have to go through, but you just got to pray. We know that, and just follow the doctor's orders, and to be as preventative as you can by going to make sure you get a mammogram first.
How old?
Well, the medium age is 40, but if you have it in your family, then go earlier. And unfortunately, if you're like in your 20s, your early 30s, and you get breast cancer, that's not a good sign. And I'm being really, really honest with you. The younger you get it, and I'm talking about below 40, it's really not a good sign. And 9 times out of 10, those women, and I'm just speaking off the cuff, I'm not a medical person, but a lot of them end up having that gene, mm-hmm. Because it comes so early.
What is it called again?
The BRCA, BRACA gene.
BRCA gene.
And just when you go get your mammogram, just ask the doctor, say, could you test me? If you don't even have it, say, can I get tested for the BRCA gene? Mm-hmm. I didn't know anything about it, but he just tested me for mm-hmm. that.
Is that just for women?
No, men can get it too.
The BRCA gene test?
If you have but men don't normally get that. That's usually for the women.
Oh, okay.
Because the gene attacks your breast and your ovaries for the most part.
Got it.
And that's why people that have the BRCA gene, a lot of them just opt for, the radical mastectomy, which is both of your breasts, mm-hmm. and then they have their ovaries taken out.
Yeah, my aunt Beverly, shout out to her. She's alive today. She had breast cancer. I believe she had a breast removed, if I'm not mistaken. We're very thankful that she's alive.
That's
and then
right.
it tried to come back again, and she beat it again.
Yeah.
So shout out Auntie Beverly, love you out
Yes.
there in Ohio.
That's right. That's another warrior. See,
Absolutely.
it's hanging on in
Absolutely.
there. Yeah. You know, it's I have a friend, and I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, but I have a friend who opted to get didn't do Western medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So she, through prayer and holistic stuff, she didn't get it. You know, she didn't go to the surgery.
Okay.
Well, it came back. It
Yeah.
came. I mean, it never really left. It came back.
Right.
And I'm not a proponent, like Tom and I both, we're not really into taking meds. You know, we'd rather take holistic, vitamins
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, when it comes to cancer, I'm going with the Western medicine.
Okay.
You know, that's just what that's just what I would do.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion. Some people
Right.
would have something.
Well,
different.
yeah. How do you feel about God versus medicine? Like,
Well, God, I figured that God made the oncologist and gave him the hands and the wherewithal to help me to survive.
Yeah, to
you know,
help
so,
you keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you do have to make your own decision.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Sure do.
and I think that works as well.
Yeah, so do I. It's just it's something that's really, really dear to my heart. The whole breast cancer thing, and I have a drawer full of breast cancer shirts and sweatshirts and workout clothes. You know, so if you see somebody walking around looking like a bazooka bubblegum, that could easily be me.
Be you. Why was it important to want to speak to the broadcast today about this?
Because it is something that's real dear to me, and it's something that can be so preventable. You know, that can really save your life, and they bring it to light. They highlight it once a year, so that we just won't forget.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening too is because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they do it like that so that you'll get your mammogram if you just start and you get it in October, and you will remember. Because the next October rolls around and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Right.
So it's a good time to get it in October, because then you know when it comes back around, it's going to be on your mind because it's all over TV, it's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
To go in and get it. So
Right.
that's what I would just want. I want women to really be aware that this is not a joke. You know, it is. It's very much a part of who we are. You know, unfortunately, and like I said earlier, I never thought I would get breast cancer because I always went. I always went to the doctor
Yeah.
to check them out. And then boom. So even a person like me who went twice a year, I got it, but praise God, it was stage 0 from me doing that.
Praise God about
You know.
that. Tom,
Yeah, hey.
I want to go back to kind of your time when you got the call. How did you feel? You're her husband of 30 years
Yep.
plus.
Yep.
So this was about 20 years in, 20-some years in. How did you feel? Like, did you think cancer equals death at that time? And did you think you were going to lose your wife? Or did you have faith? And then give us, expound on that.
Well, I was when Kim came home from her routine visit, and on the way out of the office building, they had said, "Hey, we want you to come back next week." That was so atypical. I had never gone with her before, but she had gone, and so she came home and said, "They want me to come back next week." Now, I put on the okey doke face. I didn't know what it meant, but here's what I knew it didn't mean. You're better than anybody else because you're getting a prize.
Right.
Okay, I knew it didn't mean that.
Right, right.
And so that's why I said, I'm going to go with you. And, and then for 10 years after, I went with Kim to every one of her
Yep.
semi-annual appointments.
Wow.
Every one. And quite frankly, even though I think I'm a person of faith, part of that was not out of fear, but out of concern for her that God forbid if she went back to one of these appointments and they said, come back in a week, and she knew what that meant, she'd be sitting there in an office all alone.
Right.
And I didn't want to take that chance. And so it's a situation where, like I said before, you feel helpless. But I'll tell you what it did for me, and I think did for us. You value the little things. Okay, now I'm sounding like an old person here, but I'm going to tell you, I don't know what I would do if I did not have my wife. I just don't know what I would do.
Right.
And you know that, she knows that. And
Right.
you all don't know how much I know that. And so, I said, as this whole thing unwound, I said, you know what, you're always a guy trying to push toward doing more, trying to push, trying to get perfection, nitpicky around the house. I'm still nitpicky around the house, but I try to keep about 80% of it in my own little head and just let it burn out in there instead of, getting on people, because it isn't important. And God forbid somebody comes to me someday and says, you and your wife, for whatever reason, have 3 hours left. I want to hope I didn't just spend the last day obsessing over who scratched the wall, or it's just not important.
Mm-hmm.
It's not important.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you this too. Because of insurance, because of economics, they're trying to push the age to get your first mammogram and that to later. They're trying to stretch the intervals between, instead of annual, maybe if you're in your 40s, you only need them every 5 years. Let me just tell you, the devil is a liar, okay?
That's right.
It's a completely non-invasive, not painful. There's no radiation involved. It's all ultrasonic waves. It's not damaging. You don't have to worry. I think that's one of those things where the insurance companies are trying to save money, okay, at the risk of our health. I say our health because my wife's health is my health.
Right. I mean, how much does it cost for a mammogram?
Well, how much does it cost, or how much they try to charge?
Yeah,
two
both.
different things, right? So
I mean, what does
they
the
try
bill
to
look like
charge
for one mammogram?
a couple $100 probably. I'm guessing, but it can't be more than that.
And they're trying to say you only need it every 5 years.
For some people.
Instead of you knowing that you can go 1 year and not have it, and the
Bam.
next you have
Right,
it.
right.
So you can really have it
So
for
what can
5
happen?
years and
Yeah,
not
it's
even
exactly
detect it.
right. Particularly if you're asymptomatic, which means no lump, no discharge,
Like
none
me.
of that.
But you
right?
wouldn't know.
So you wouldn't know. And 5 years later, guess what happens when you go back? Then you have stage
Simple.
3.
Yep.
And
That's
so,
exactly right.
so instead of getting a little walnut-sized piece of tissue removed
catching it.
so it's as big as a
ED.
little walnut,
Right.
Instead of early detection, guess what? Oh man, you've got stage 3. It's metastasized. It's in your bone. Adios.
So what else can you do?
Well, there's a lot of free resources that Kim can speak to. A lot of resources, and this has been why, if you look at, breast cancer is still the number 1 cancer in women detected. And part of the reason it's the number 1 detected cancer is because there's been so much notoriety around it.
Absolutely.
People have desexualized. They used to say, you can't say breast on TV. Now they can say breast cancer. And because they have desexualized it, de-demonized it, guess what has happened? People are now going for mammograms. They're going for testing. They're doing these things. And because of that, they're finding it early. So whereas 20 years ago, if you got breast cancer, it was a problem because you probably didn't know you had it until it was significantly more advanced.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Yeah.
Today, we're finding more cases than ever, but it's a good thing because we're finding them way earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, so many more people like Kim are here, like her friend Valerie, like so many people we know lived a long, long time, that if they'd been going every 5 years, it's crazy, man.
And you know what? Can I say this? The things that you don't know, like Tom's been on the show for a year or whatever, so most of the listeners know that we have adopted all 3 of our children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is when I say things that you don't know, that they tell you later. Like they told me that one of the reasons that I got breast cancer was because I was 55. I had never birthed children.
Mm-hmm.
And I still had a cycle.
Mm.
All that made me estrogen positive, which means I was producing too much estrogen like a 20-something-year-old woman, and I shouldn't do that. So I don't take anything with estrogen now because of that. So these are just, so that was in my case. That's just all the little stuff that you don't know.
Yep.
So
So is there a way around the mammogram if that ever has to happen? Is there another way to have
No.
early detection?
No. A self-exam is the number 1.
yeah.
Because you can do that literally. I mean, I'm not a medical guy. You can look this stuff up. They can
Bless you.
tell you when you should be doing your breast self-exam, what part of your monthly cycle you're in, when you should be doing it, okay, how to do it. That's number one, because you do it every single month. So if you're scheduled for a mammogram in a year, and 2 months after that you find a lump, what you don't do is wait for a year till your mammogram
Right.
comes up. You get in, and again, oh, maybe it's just a little bump in there. Maybe it's one of those, no.
No.
You go right away.
And what you would do when Tom talked about with the breast exam, just pull up the image on the internet.
Google.
Tells you exactly
Google
how to do it.
how to do it.
And you go to okay, don't go to the one that says Deacon T's medical advice.
Yeah.
Okay, go to like Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, American Breast Cancer Society, one of those
Susan G.
really
Komen,
reputable,
yeah.
Susan G. Komen, one of those ones that will show you exactly how to do it. It's super simple, and it's saved millions of lives.
And you know what? Quite frankly, if you're nervous about doing it and you're married, significant other, have him do it.
Yeah.
Just feel it, because when I would do it, I'd make sure whatever I felt on one breast, I felt on the other breast.
Yeah.
That psychologically, that's what helped me deal with it. I would tell Tom, I said, I just had, now old grandparents used to call it, when something was messed up, they'd call it janky.
Mm-hmm.
That little janky kid over there, whatever. So I would tell Tom, I said, I got this janky breast.
She said it was a janky titty, but that's all right.
I did say that. Because I have this scar, and because that balloon burst,
Yeah.
I had a scar from the port, but because that balloon burst, I had to get it again. Gave me another scar.
Wow.
So then I'm
Yeah.
pissy, but then it's like, oh my God, Kim, you need to slow your roll. 'Cause some of you don't have
Who
them.
cares? You
Some people
alive.
don't have
Right.
No. Some people
Right.
dead.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't
absolutely.
care.
Right.
Yeah.
So, who are some of the organizations that you support or that you would like to see supported? If you could tell people.
I do the Red Rose Foundation,
Which is at Dignity Health.
Dignity Health.
That's St. Rose Hospital.
What did they just rename that, Tom? They renamed it something.
Yeah, it is called something.
It's something else. But anyway,
changed
you can
it.
still find it under Dignity Health.
Yeah,
Those
or
are all
Red
the-
Rose Foundation.
And those are the Be Kind billboards that you see all over.
Okay.
American Cancer Society.
Okay.
They have a huge thing for breast cancer. So Susan G.
Komen.
Susan G. Komen, Red Rose Society Foundation here, and American Cancer Society. Those are the biggest ones, and those are the ones that, because they're so big, they have a whole lot more information, and everybody's privy to it. And those places can tell you where you can get it free.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's the main thing. A lot of people say, I can't go there, I can't afford it. So many places you can get it free. We just don't, they don't put it all out there.
Don't cheat yourself, treat
That's right.
yourself.
That's right. Oh, I like that. I might get a shirt. Can you give me a shirt like that?
Plug the IC in the
Right,
shirt.
just pink. How about that? Yeah,
We got
pink.
it.
Yeah, that'll work.
We got it.
So-
Deacon T, let's get to your Deacon T's hot topics, and we're gonna be out of here, man. I really
Cool.
thank you, Lady
Thank
Kim,
you very much.
for today. It was very, inspiring and knowledgeable, as a matter of fact, and to know your story. I never really heard it in depth, so to know that you can identify with other women is amazing. And to all the women out there, man, we support you. We're behind you.
Amen.
And we want you to live and not die.
Amen to that.
And we want you to do whatever you got to do for early detection. And if you don't have early detection, just reach out to some of those organizations that she named, and I'm sure that they have some information for you to move forward in good health and good spirits.
And we need to support, all the men need to support, because, in the Deacon T's translation of the Bible, it says, he who finds a significant other finds a good thing.
That's right.
So you got somebody you love in your life. You need to be a partner in health with them. It's just critical.
Mother, sister, daughter,
Whoever it
whoever,
is.
friend.
Whoever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, chide people. Hey, did you go get your exam? Did you get your mammogram? Your mom, I don't care who it is.
That's right.
This Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Hey, that's a great segue. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Did you get yours this month? And
Right.
Just
Right.
because a lot of people just aren't as, like, thank God Kim was more in tune and more focused on making sure she stays ahead of it.
Right. Right.
Right? Yeah.
So you got some hot topics for us?
I do. The hot topic today is use it or lose it.
Hey.
and it really isn't about the Bible, but it's all about the Bible. When you're granted a gift, when you're granted a blessing, God requires that you use that blessing, that gift, or he's going to reappropriate it into somebody else. And the gift I'm talking about today is the right, the privilege to vote, to control your destiny. We're not going to have another show before the national election comes out, but I heard something, and then I followed up to make sure it was right. I heard something the other day that blew my mind. Of the roughly 250 million eligible voters, roughly, in the United States, big year, we'll get a turnout 60-odd%. Less than 2/3 of the people eligible to vote cast a vote. I'm going to give you something. This is what blew my mind. In the first open national election in South Africa in 1994, when Nelson Mandela was running, just shy of 90% of the people, and check this out, showed up to vote, just shy of 90%. And many of them walked for days, barefoot. Walked for days barefoot. What we got to do is fill out a piece of paper and drive up and hand it to somebody. And the best we can do on a great year is 60, whatever it was. Come on, man. We're better than that.
Right.
And I'm here to say this. It's your vote. It's your right. Don't use it. That's on you. But if you don't vote, do not whine and complain to me. Okay? If I find out you didn't vote and you start talking to me about, oh, this guy that and that guy that, I'm going to literally tell you to shut up. Okay? If you voted and your guy didn't get in, I'll listen to you all day. But if you don't vote, you cannot whine. You be in the no whining villa, man.
You revoked your own right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, there are people all over this world, lots of them, who get force-fed who runs their country, makes their decisions, and how their life is lived out, quite frankly. Look at so many places like China, so many of these other third world countries in Africa, where there are dictatorships and old school feudal systems where somebody else decides what you can do, when you can do it, who you can do it with. The tall people rule, the short people don't. The light-skinned people do something the dark-skinned people don't. And why? Because they don't get to decide who decides how society takes place. And then it takes literally a revolution. We've been through all that. People many generations back were killed, and to get separate and free so that we had a right to say how we wanted things to be. So my hot topic for today is, if you like having the right, you need to vote and exercise it and use it. Because you might turn around and it not be there.
Right.
And people who want to say, oh man, it's no big deal, it's only one vote. Let me help you with something. Not just in the national elections, but in the local elections, it is not uncommon whatsoever for a handful of votes to determine who gets in and who doesn't. And how about if I share this with you, since I'm like the fountain of facts and figures today. In the last 2 elections before, so when Obama got elected the second time in the state of Florida, Obama won the state of Florida, which got him the election. That was the tipping point, by 1.3%. 1.3%. In 2016, when Trump got elected, he won Florida. 1%. Trump won Florida by 1% of the vote. Your vote is powerful and meaningful. And use it or lose it. I love y'all. Every Sunday at 10 a.m. on Facebook, on the Deacon Tom Moore page, we have service. I bring you a little word. We commune together for an hour. It's short and sweet. We try to make it really, really current and meaningful in today's world. And I'm just here to tell you, I'm here for you, but I got to chide you today. Get out and vote. Please. 10 a.m. Sunday. I'll be on there live.
Hey, and that's our time, folks. We thank you guys for tuning in, man. Like I said, I wanted to dedicate this show, Deacon Tom wanted to dedicate this show to Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Amen.
And we're actually going to talk about Adoption Month, right?
In November.
Absolutely. So we'll see y'all in November on Hot Seat with IC Jonez, 4 o'clock. You know how we do it. Make sure you download the MixLR app. And you can tune in to my show on YouTube. Look up Hot Seat with IC Jonez, and you can actually go to hotseatwithicjonez.com and catch all of my shows from the previous dates. All right. Once again, that's hotseatwithicjonez.com, and check me out on YouTube at Hot Seat with IC Jonez. See y'all in a minute. Peace.